Hello, my name's Alan Bunter and I'm talking to you today from our family-owned print business, Remus Limited. We've been trading 30 years and in that time we've always used Heidelberg technology. Now, about 6 months ago we decided we needed to look at the new technology available in terms of litho printing. Our press was coming up to 10 years old and we needed to look at what else was available and how things had moved on. And I didn't really think there was going to be a huge difference to what we had. In Europe we were able to look at this Lithrone S29, the same as this but with a coater and an H-spec machine. And when we walked into the showroom I saw what was going on and my mouth just hit the floor. I couldn't believe the change in technology, just how much things had moved on. And the reasons that I was so impressed were the automation, the fast make ready and the running speed. Now the automation for us is key because we're a commercial printer, the same as a lot of people, and it's very competitive out there. It's very difficult and we've got to get more work done in less time. So when we looked at this machine, I saw the automation available, I was so impressed. I can't tell you how impressed I was. Now with our press now, whereas we would be setting up the ink keys by hand or pulling in a profile and running 100 sheets and tinkering about, putting plates on, semi-automatic, with this high-spec machine, which is, don't get me wrong, is the top spec you can buy, but we can now be running a job, we can be putting the plates on whilst that job's running for the next one, just plop them in the guards, you don't need to fold them. The machine will then stop what it's doing, it will de-ink the rollers down to a baseline level on the job that it's printing, on the scrap sheets. So it's running, it de-inks, it'll stop, wash the blankets, it'll run 5 sheets through just to dry the blankets off. Then it will take off all the old plates, it'll put on all the new plates, it'll then open up the ink keys to the new profile, it'll change the paper thickness if it needs to be changed. This is all automatic. It'll then start up, bring in the new profile up, put the ink on the rollers up to the correct levels, then it'll start the feeder and run 50 sheets through and stop. And it does all that without any intervention. In the meantime, our minders will be taking the job out that's just stopped, putting it in the other end, turning it over, loading up the paper for the next one. But there's no human intervention between those two things, between the last job stopping and the new job starting. So the minder comes up and takes the sheet out, and they can put it down on the lectern, scan it, and it checks the colour. Now we also opted for the PDCS2, so we've got spectrophotomic colour management. So we can guarantee that our colour is within ISO tolerance all day, every day. So we put the sheet down, check the fit, check the position, hit the button on the scanner and it will tell us whether it's in ISO tolerance or not. And 9 out of 10 times, in the first 50 sheets it will be, provided you've got your chemistry, your blankets and your roller settings right. And don't get me wrong, that takes some maintenance. But we can now produce a job and be turned around and on to the next job within 4 or 5 minutes. It takes 2.5 minutes to change the plates on this machine. And also we don't need to pre-fold them. The plates come straight out of our plate setter, straight into the guards, you don't need to touch them. And the levels of wastage are minimal because we know that we're going to use maybe 100 sheets to make ready. There's something wrong if it takes more than 100 sheets to get the machine set up, but you do have to keep on top of the maintenance. Another important selling point for us was the green credentials. Obviously Komori in Japan, the manufacturing facility is very, very eco-friendly. But in terms of the machine, here in Somerset in 2010, we're running alcohol free. We don't have to buy alcohol, which is not only expensive but also not very ecologically sound. We don't have to fill it up with auto wash, as the blanket wash rolls are pre-impregnated with the chemistry required and it uses a tiny amount. Now don't get me wrong, those rolls are expensive and that was one of my main concerns, but the amount of wash roll that it actually uses, it works out about, I think it's about 3 pence more expensive per wash. But it uses less chemistry. You haven't got a big vat of chemistry sat underneath you. Also the ability to run alcohol free with the bio inks, the vegetable oil inks, has been fantastic, and the inks that we use is actually a Hartmann ink. I think it's mixed by Sun Chemical, but the combination of the fount, the bio inks, the lack of alcohol, it's fantastic. It dries instantly. Really, really good setup. And Komori have been very good with us. You know, they guided us through the whole process. They gave us extra training to make sure that we were okay with it, because we were a Heidelberg house. You know, we weren't even looking at anything different. But when we looked at what was available and the people that we dealt with at Komori, the salespeople, the marketing team, the follow-up, the backup, the parts, I can't recommend them highly enough.